Yo, what's up, everybody? Anton here from dropshiplifestyle.com, and today I want to share a message specifically with members of Dropship Lifestyle. So for all of you out there that are watching this, that have access to our coaching programs, and specifically those of you that might feel like giving up or that might have given up in the past. This episode of Dropship Weekly, really the idea was sparked by a conversation that I just had with a member of Dropship Lifestyle that's been around for a while. They're seeing some success, they're getting sales, but they told me that they were ready to totally just scrap their current store, delete it, and start over. They were ready to give up on their current niche and try something totally new. And what I want to share with you in this episode of Dropship Weekly is what I shared with them. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. So I thought the best way to do this would be just pull up a document and share some notes kind of on where you may be at, or maybe you were in the past, and where you should go from there. So typically when people tell me that they want to give up, when I say that, I don't mean give up completely and stop, with their dream of building an e-commerce store. I mean when they say, oh, this niche is terrible, right? Typically it's because they think there's too much competition. So that's a big one that I get. Another one that people say is they can't get approved with enough suppliers. So let's write cannot get approved with good suppliers. Maybe you experienced that yourself, right? Another one people tell me is they've been trying for a month and made no sales. Another one people might say is they just can't cannot get traffic. So these are some of the common ones, right? And again, these aren't things that pop up right away. These are things that people might go ahead and start building their store. And then again, months down the line or a month down the line, think, okay, I went into this with so much energy and enthusiasm, and I started to do all this work, and now it's not paying off. It must mean this niche is terrible. It must mean I made a bad choice. It must mean I should start over. And I'll tell you, 9 out of 10 times, probably even more, when people say that to me, it's the wrong decision, okay? And this is assuming, again, you did work properly in the beginning. If you are that exception, that 1 out of 10 people that, maybe you're right, you should start over, then it's because you just didn't follow the blueprint correctly the first time. And, it might sound harsh, but it's true. I see this plenty of times where when those people, I do tell them, yeah, you're right, you should start over. It's not because they did everything right. It's because they either are selling super inexpensive items, or they're working in an industry where there's 2 suppliers, or they're working in one where there's just like no available traffic because it's too small. So keep that in mind. If you did things right in the beginning, chances are everything else can work for you as well. But what I want you to picture, again, before you're the guy or the girl that just shuts down their store and starts over, is the work that you've done up to this point, okay? So I'll just type in what you've done. And again, if you're at a point where you think any of these things might be happening and you're starting to get that urge to start over, then you have already done niche research. And if you followed the Dropship Blueprint, you spent a healthy amount of time doing that. You've also done market research, and again, spent even more time doing that. While doing that, you've built your entire supplier list, right? You have all their contact info, you're ready to go. Of course, you've also put the time into building your website. So now you have a store. You've optimized your website for conversions. You've set up traffic campaigns. And even before that, I'll just add in here, you've built supplier relationships, right? So you've put in all this time and all this effort and all this energy, and you've basically laid the groundwork necessary to now start doing what actually matters, which is optimizing and seeing what's working and what's not. So the worst time to possibly give up, again, for 9 out of 10 people, is after they've done everything. Because the reason in the Dropship Blueprint, and I'll just hop into this, this is the reason when I built this thing, the reason it's set up sequentially, modules 0, module 1, module 2, module module 3, 4, and so on, is because as you're going through each module and as you're completing the action tasks in each module, that means you're checking things off and making sure you've done them correctly. So again, assuming that in your business you've done all these things and assuming you followed the dropship blueprint, 9 out of 10 times you've done the hard work. You've built that foundation. Now from here, let's say you're experiencing one of these things up top, right? One of the reasons people tell me sometimes, hey, I think I should switch niches or this doesn't work. Well, one is they say there's too much competition. Well, again, if you followed module 1 and module 2, then there's not. You just might be panicking now because it's time for you to go live. It's time for you to turn on your Google Ads. It's time for you to actually do what business owners do, which is get sales. So if you followed modules 1 and 2, there's not too much competition. So just get past that, right? Don't get stuck in a mental trap where now before you did the research and it sounded great, but now for some reason, your mindset shifted and you're scared. Being scared is normal. Not pushing through, unfortunately, is also normal. So just push through. That's why we spend so much time on research up front. Now, another thing, right? Another reason, let's say you can't get approved with any suppliers and that's a reason you want to give up. Well, again, if you followed the blueprint, you have at least 20 suppliers that you can reach out to. The reason I set that target at 20 and not 5 is because guess what? When you're brand new, when you have no experience, they're not all going to approve you. So if you follow the blueprint, you have at least 20 potential suppliers, you will be approved by enough to start getting traffic and to start getting sales. And then as you build your business with those suppliers, you can circle back to those that said no the first time and get approved with them on the next round. But don't feel like a no means, oh, this supplier turned me down, that's it, let's move on. That's not long-term thinking. Remember, the Dropship Blueprint in Dropship Lifestyle is all about building a sustainable long-term business. And that means not everything happens overnight. So set expectations as you'll get whatever suppliers you can get. You'll circle back to the rest, not, okay, I'm going to give up and try again. Because if you do that, right? If you just say, I can't get any good suppliers, I'm going to another niche, guess what? You're not going to get approved with all the suppliers and the same thing is going to happen. You're going to think, okay, I can't get all the good ones. Let me move on and move on and move on until you just give up completely. So make it happen. Work with what you have. There's a really good quote. I think it's from Theodore Roosevelt, and it says, do what you can with what you have where you are. Something like that. I'm probably jumbling up the words, but I love that because basically what it's saying is use your resources and what's at hand and make the most out of it. And that's what entrepreneurs do. So make what you can of what you have and it will build over time. Now, another thing that people might be experiencing, in fact, this was one of the conversations that I had with the member I was telling you about earlier. He was saying he's been getting traffic and he didn't say he's made no sales, but he's getting sales, but not as many as he expected. So I went in, I dove into his Google Analytics account. He shared access with me and I was looking at his traffic and he had about 800 unique visitors to his website in a 30-day period. So 800 unique people within 30 days. Now, assuming even a 2.5 conversion rate, or let's say a 2% because I'm bad at math, 2% conversion rate on 800 people, that would be 16 sales. He didn't have 16 sales. He had less. But people were buying. The checkout process was working. Traffic was converting. Now, 800 people is a small sample size to begin with. But what I shared with him and what I want to share with you is even with that amount of data, now you can start looking at things like, okay, which people bought? Where did those conversions come from? What keywords did they search for? Okay, what about the rest of those 800 people that didn't buy? Did they not buy because my site wasn't optimized properly? Did they not buy because my site didn't look good on mobile? Did they not buy because they were searching for things that weren't related to my website, but Google was sending them to me anyway? Now, any of those problems that I just mentioned can all be easily resolved. If your website doesn't look good on mobile, you could fix that. If Google's sending you traffic that's not related to your website, you can add negative keywords. If people are trying to place orders and your checkout's broken, you can fix that too. So that's not a reason to give up. And also, if your sample size is only 800, you can in 30 days, you can get more people by getting more traffic. So for a lot of people, again, the first thought is this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Let me give up. When in reality, the position that you're in is actually an amazing one to be in. Because again, at that point, you've done the work. You've built the whole foundation of what you need. You now have data. And if you're lucky enough, you're making sales. And what you do with that is what matters. Don't throw your hands up and think I'm not making $1 million. And I'm not saying that's what the person I spoke to was thinking, but don't throw your hands up and think I'm not getting, a 2% or a 3% conversion rate, this doesn't work. Think, oh, okay, people are buying. Why are they buying what they're buying? Why aren't they buying the other things that they're finding on my website? Then you optimize, and over time you grow. So I don't want it to seem like everybody, just by making a few tweaks, is going to go from nothing to the best store ever. But even if you built a store and just totally bombed on it, if you did the research up front first, you can make it work. And that's the point. Just taking, your store down and then trying another niche is never the answer. Unless, of course, again, you're that 1 out of 10 people that didn't follow anything I teach in the blueprint and just, started clicking around and hope to make it work. But if you followed it, you can make it work. So here are your options, right? For people that are on the fence. They're either, from what I've seen, making no money or maybe making a couple $100 net profit a month from their store. So your options are, okay, A, shut that down, give up everything you've worked for and start over, or optimize that. And can't you get it to the point? Like, think of this logically, right? Even if you still, did everything wrong, can you make a few tweaks and get it to $1,000 net profit a month or $2,000 net profit a month? And that's even like something that maybe isn't the perfect industry. And that's something where you can't get the best suppliers. And that's something where your traffic isn't optimized. Like, if you originally, right, think about why you got into the industry you're in, think about how you found that niche, and then, think about what your original goals were for it, and then just make it happen. Because just switching from selling, stand-up desks to regular desks isn't going to make your business work. In fact, these same problems that people usually say there's a reason they want to switch, they're just going to have those same problems in a different niche. Okay, so go to the blueprint, go through all the training you have access to. If you feel stuck and you feel like you're doing things right and you're still not getting results, go ahead and book yourself a coaching call in here. Join a mastermind on the Fast Business Forum, our private forum. Do what you got to do, but the truth is, giving up is almost never the answer. You've seen that image, I'm sure, of the miner that's digging for gold, and he gives up when there's like a little sliver of dirt between him and, the pot of gold. And for a lot of people, they almost are that close, not to internet riches, but to building what they originally thought they could build, because you have done the work, you have the data, you have what you need. So put it to use. Instead of starting over, focus on improving what you have, and that is the way you're going to make this work. That is the way you will succeed, and that's the way you're going to have a highly profitable semi-automated store. So hope you found that useful. Again, please don't give up. If you really did just mess up the research process, go back, watch modules 1 and 2 again, and you'll know if you should start over. But most of the time, the answer is just dive deeper, work harder, and force it to work based on data. That's what business owners do. So hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, as always, leave a comment below this video on YouTube. And happy to respond. I'll be checking messages for the next day or so. So that's it. I'm going to get back to work. Hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week for Dropship Weekly, which, by the way, next week I'm going to be out in Saigon. I'm going to Vietnam for like 3 weeks. So if you're out in Asia, specifically in Saigon, leave a comment and let me know, because I'm probably going to do a meetup out there. So leave a comment and let me know, and I'll let you know if I set that up. So talk to you soon.